From Wayward Social in Marshalltown, this is Bobcat Live.
Welcome into Bobcat Live inside of Wayward tonight. We're over in the restaurant side, and we're lucky to be in here. It's a gorgeous night out there. Awesome night in here, great food, and some great friends that are just killing it on the tennis courts. I'm joined here with Coach James Christensen along with Jacob Seeberger and Aaron Hunter. Season's been pretty good so far, undefeated. Many of these have not been close so far. You did have that 7-4 Des Moines Roosevelt. So, Coach, you're looking at 10-0, 7-0 in conference. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a good thing to start off the season with a string of victories. Starting off this Friday, we'll really up the competition level, and we're ready to test ourselves out and see what we're made of.
And you look at this week, definitely got to check out a little bit of Southeast Polk. It was 11-0, but there were some competitive matches within that. When you see the big score, may read it in the paper, listen on Bobcat Live, you guys win 11-0, and we've seen that a lot. What are you seeing in maybe the closer matchups that may look like big wins on paper, but you had to fight in it? What did you see in that Southeast Polk match?
Yeah, there were a lot of good things in that 11-0 versus Southeast Polk that don't always show up in that score. Elliot Cotis and Kyle Smith had to come back from the first set loss. We had Jacob Seeberger and Parker Kristen, just showed up from a History Day competition. Shout out to those guys for going on to nationals. They dropped right onto the tennis court after a long day and, fought through some tiredness and showed up huge for us. Just fighting through some of those tough elements to come out of there with an 11-0 victory, I think that's something that's going to help us out later in the season when we're playing some tougher competition.
Definitely appreciate the answer and bearing the lead. Jacob Seeberger, by the way, just came back from National History Day and is going on to National. So we're going to go down to you, Jacob. Big meet. Marshalltown performed really well at History Day, but you come in from that competition, focused in. You got to flip into game mode. Describe that for us of competing at a high level in two drastically different things.
Yeah, they're not really close at all when it comes to competing, but it was a lot of fun performing with the group of guys that we had at History Day and being able to just we were sitting on the bench at our tennis meet wondering what the results were. So it was good to hear how that went at the beginning of our tennis meet, just set the standards high. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Parker and I both came back, so we were in the same boat. But, yeah, it was a good time either way. Just trying to make the most of it and have a lot of fun at both. So.
Love it. And you may have heard the clamoring, and it's usually in front of the mic. Brandon Lewis is the producer tonight, making a lot of racket, making sure Bobcat Nation knows he's here, even behind the camera. All right, so Aaron, I got to catch your doubles match in Southeast Polk with Jacob Hayes, and really interesting. I know it's Jacob's first year, so you're kind of the senior in this of experience. Describe that Southeast Polk matchup, playing with maybe a new player but still coming out victorious.
Yeah, so that was like the first time we ever played doubles together, so we had to get used to it playing together and figure out, who's better at what. He's usually better at being at the net, more aggressive. I like to stay back, hit lobs. So it was a pretty good game. It was a little close in the beginning, but as it went on, it just got easier and easier. So. And
Aaron, I'd love to know again that weather. It's everybody's in hoodies and not looking like they're real happy to be standing out in the wind. How does that affect how you approach your game? Do you change a little bit your serving style, where you're trying to place shots? Does that really affect it, or are you just playing your game?
Yeah. So depending on the weather, I definitely change up my game. If it's a little more windy, I like to play it more safe. Make sure you just get the ball in. But if there's no wind, then I like to put a little more power on my shots and just go for more aggressive shots.
And so Jacob, Coach said Friday starting to crank it up a little bit. You guys have looked really solid. Looking at this step up in competition, what's your mindset as a team leader? What are you really looking for to make sure, the success you've had already in the record book translates into better play come Friday?
Yeah, good question. It's definitely hard to make that transition, but Coach has always mentioned before our easier meets just to not play down to the level of the other guys and just play your own game. So whether that's kind of hitting it as hard as you can, sometimes that's just how it goes. So hopefully it'll be a smoother transition than what it probably will end up being. But we'll give it my best, and I guess trust myself and my shots, and that's right. Just let it happen how it is. So.
And Bobcat Nation wants to know, when do you guys go for nationals? When do you guys head out?
For NHD?
Yeah.
I think it's the 14th or the 18th, right?
Okay, so it's coming up. So just another success. So, Coach, as you talk about this Friday coming up, you have athletes that are successful in a lot of different ways. What are you expecting from this group to really get to that next level they want to, opportunity at state, those type of things? What are you looking for in growth?
Yeah, first of all, I'm glad you mentioned, we have so many guys that are, multiple sport athletes and are also active, in all sorts of philanthropy and, off the court and outside of school. They do so many awesome things. I'm super proud of them for that. But yeah, as we get into the thick of things here on the tennis courts, we have a lot of opportunity. We've put ourselves in a good position with our record to, we're hosting districts. For individuals, I'd expect us to get a pretty decent seed in the sub-state for our team. So if we play up to our ability level, we know that we can advance on. Hopefully we get a good draw and we take advantage of it.
And again, Bobcats sit 10-0, 7-0 in the conference. Ratchets up this Friday, but this is a really good ball club filled with some incredible young men for sure. When we come back, we're going to go from the tennis courts out to the golf course, talk about another successful spring sport here in Marshalltown. Girls golf is operating on all cylinders. We get a chance to talk to Coach Lucas Johnson along with junior golfer Emma Clausen when we come back here on Bobcat Live.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social for date night, family fun, or the company party with plenty of space for everyone. Visit Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to start planning your group outing at Wayward Social, the place for fun.
Big news from your local insurance team in Marshalltown, Toledo, and West Des Moines. Assured Partners is now Gallagher Insurance, Risk Management, and Consulting. You'll still work with the same local people you know and trust. Now backed by the strength and global resources of Gallagher, a trusted name for nearly 100 years. More expertise, more solutions, stronger protection. Because we're stronger together. Stop by your local office today and discover the power of Gallagher.
Scooter's Coffee is going bananas, literally. Treat yourself to banana bread hot or iced lattes, creamy latte blenders, and fresh banana bread muffins. Need something refreshing? Sip a berry spritz soda, light, bubbly, and perfect any time of day. Craving cozy? Try salted caramel waffle lattes, hot or iced, or a smooth sea salt caramelicious as a latte, cold brew, or blender. And don't forget the French toasty sandwich, warm, sweet, and satisfying. Plus, Cinnalicious drinks are here for a limited time. Scooter's Coffee, amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast.
Welcome in to Bobcat Live. We are going to the golf course where it's been a really good season so far for the girls golf team. Big meet tomorrow. Linda Bloom out at the country club. I know we talked a couple weeks ago, Lucas, that you've been really impressed with just the growth, just looking at all the golfers. Harper Wilson's a lone senior, so you got a lot of young girls, but they're all, if they played varsity or were on the high school roster last year, Hannah Osgood, Morgan Hildebrand, you're looking at all these young ladies, and especially Emma Clausen, who you mentioned by name, have made huge strides year over year. What can you say about that progress?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the depth that we have this year, we knew coming in was going to be what we would rely on, because losing two of our top seniors last year, we weren't going to necessarily have that hammer in the number one spot. But 1 through 6, we knew we could compete with an awful lot of teams, and that's what we've done. Emma played great last night, and so just keeping it rolling and playing one shot at a time.
And what specifically with Emma's game are you seeing that year-over-year growth? What have you seen, just maybe maturation, just her personally, but approaching the course?
Yeah, for sure. She talked about it last night. It's the short game. She said, the first thing when I said, tell me what worked well for you, and she talked about the fact that being able to get up and down for pars, where a lot of times last year maybe that turned into a bogey or a double bogey, and that's really where golfers start to see that big jump in maturity.
Yeah, and what Coach said is, as you're seeing that growth in the short game, was there some specific thing that you did in the off season really to focus on that, or where do you attribute the growth of your game?
Honestly, it'd be through the simulator during the winter.
Okay.
I kind of went there and worked on my wedges, and so I kind of got the feel for it.
That's fantastic. That's one of those hidden golf things. We don't live in Phoenix. You can't be out on a course every day. But, yeah, the use of the simulator to really add the game. When you hear that, as a coach, looking like, all right, we're in the off season. I know you guys utilize the simulator a lot. But just having that dedication from the team, how exciting is that for you?
It's tremendous. I mean, those are the months where golfers are made, and to really dial in your yardages is one of the huge benefits of the simulator. And she mentioned her wedges. When players can start to think, here's what a 70-yard wedge shot feels like versus a 100-yard, and that's where scoring happens. A lot of times people think driver, but really it's the wedges and the short game.
Yeah, can you turn it around? It really is. And so, Emma, when you look at the consistency of all of you, you've really kind of found your niche being a consistent top three and on the team with your scoring. As you look at it being a younger team, often a junior has a lot of seniors to look up to. You have Harper. Where do you see your role in leadership with the team?
Honestly, I think helping not the younger players, but more like the sophomores figure out how they play, what can help them get in the right mindset almost. Yeah.
And then when you just hear these things, and you've got a big meet tomorrow, golf, you play a couple just one-on-one, and you guys have really shown strength in those, winning both of those. Do you prefer where you're playing with, say, 4, 12, 16 teams, or do you like that team against team mindset, or does it really matter on the golf course?
It honestly doesn't matter that much, but when it's more of a duel, I feel kind of more locked in.
Yep.
I can focus better and instead of focusing on beating all these other teams.
Well, and you look at, you guys also have a big competition tomorrow out at the country club. You guys were at the country club just yesterday in competition. What kind of advantage does that give you, where golf courses all change, layouts all change, that you've just not just practiced but have competitively been on that course this week?
It's really finding ways to get out of the hard shots that you can just repeat those constantly and figure out how to play it when you're in competition.
And Lucas, do you feel like you coach differently on a course where the kids just know versus having to maybe help them translate the course a little bit more and in a way?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I think at Elmwood we really talk a lot about pin placements because we know the whole layout. But at Elmwood, there's certain spots where if you're above the hole or if you're short-siding yourself, it's going to be a bogey. And so that's one of the things where I like to buzz around the course quick before we send them out and just say, hey, watch for this pin, take a look at this, because we don't have to talk big strategy quite as much as some of those little things. And hopefully it translates to a few shots here that could make the difference at the end.
And a little bit, I know, Lucas, you said you guys – at the beginning, you're like, oh, maybe we're a year ahead. Well, now you're in the season. Now you're in it. You are here. This is your team. How do you get it from, oh, man, we're ahead of schedule to, no, let's now build off of this and let's change maybe what our expectation was for the end of the year, and let's change it mid-season to maybe up it? How do you approach that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what it really boils down to is each player knowing their game and knowing what realistic goals are. We do a lot of goal setting at the beginning of the season, and we challenge each girl to have that list of goals that they can talk about, and revisiting them throughout the year and saying, okay, now that we're here, what does that look like for this meet? What does it look like for conference? What does it look like for regionals? And so we'll get our regionals this coming Wednesday, so we'll learn a little bit more then too.
And so, Emma, I'd love if you want to share, you don't have to share it, but would you be willing to share maybe like that goal you had at the beginning of the year and kind of where you see that right now?
One of my goals I planned was to break 42.
Okay.
And so that's kind of been like my motivation. And yesterday shooting a 44 has like gotten me closer. But yeah, that was one of them.
And you're right out at that course tomorrow, so you get another shot at it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, the girls have been absolutely fantastic this year. They have Linda Bloom girls golf invite tomorrow at Elmwood, and tee time's 1 o'clock on that.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. It's a earlier tee time. My swing doesn't come around until about midnight. So when we come back, we are going to go from the course to the pitch, but great time talking to Emma Clausen, who's really bringing it for the Bobcat girls golf. But when we come back, we'll talk to Scott Johannes and his team. They've won 4 in a row on the pitch. Marshalltown is rolling in soccer. When we come back, we'll hear all from Scott and his team here on Bobcat Live.
Brown's Shoe Fit has a great selection of athletic footwear, including Hoka, Brooks, On Cloud, Birkenstock, and Taos. Brown's Shoe Fit can find the right shoe for every occasion for both men and women, including dress shoes, casual shoes, work boots, and more. They carry multiple sizes and widths to ensure the best fit for you. Their expert-friendly staff will take the time to give you the service you deserve. Brown's Shoe Fit, downtown Marshalltown, with you every step of the way.
When you're craving something quick, tasty, and satisfying, think your Marshalltown Dairy Queens. From hot made-to-order favorites like burgers, chicken strips, and fries to the Dairy Queen classics you love, blizzards, cones, sundaes, and shakes. Be sure to check out the monthly featured treats and limited-time favorites, always giving you something new to try. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or a sweet treat, just because. Your Marshalltown Dairy Queens has you covered. 2 convenient locations, South Center Street and North 3rd Avenue in Marshalltown, where happy tastes good every day.
Have Van Wyck Wood Builders design and build the storage shed you need. So many different options to choose from. Van Wyck Wood Builders, just 5 miles south of I-80 in Grinnell on Highway 146. Online at vanwyckwoodbuilders.com.
Welcome back into Bobcat Live inside of Wayward. Great night hanging out with Bobcat athletes and coaches. And here we are with Coach Scott Johannes, along with Aiden Bell and Angel Chavez Ordaz. 4 in a row, 23 goals scored, 1 given up. Really, after having that 3-0 loss to Valley, you've really start to roll a little bit. Where have you seen this team in this last 4 really start to gel together, put the ball in the net?
Well, a lot of it just, we've been on a trajectory that we thought we've liked going that direction. Valley, we had a great first half. We had some breakdowns in the second half, but still overall liked the way they play there, and just playing patient and just knowing that the goals would come. And they have been. So,
and you look at that right before Valley was a 2-1 loss to Ames, and you look at that. If you just saw the score, you're like, man, it was close. If you watch the game and maybe watch the broadcast, you and maybe your youngest son was yelling at the TV because there were some opportunities. Looking at that Ames game, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but you were just as every much of a team on that pitch that night. What, Aiden, we'll go to you and Angel. When you have a match like that with a team that's kind of been the cream of the crop when it comes to the Alliance, and you know you're right with them, what's the heartbreak of that loss, but also what's kind of the silver lining of that loss? We'll start with you, Aiden.
Well, for the heartbreak of the loss, we've gone against them for years after years, and I think we're leading it, but so like for the time I've been on the team, we haven't beat them, which I really want to beat them because I got people who go there.
Yeah. So. and you guys are just right there. Angel, for you, the loss, but how did that loss maybe motivate you? Did it put a little bit more juice in your tank to look at the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think we know that like we have everything it takes to beat teams like that. So sometimes it's disappointing when we don't, but it shows us what we need to work on for the season, and we get it done after.
And then you all got to basically ribbon cut history against Perry the other night. Franklin Field, of course, home of the first live broadcast by KFJB of a high school sporting event in the history of the world, is down there. And then you come down and open it up. Field looks great. The mural looks fantastic, and you go out and play a really good Perry squad, and they do have the lone goal in your four win streak, but you guys win 3-1. Beyond the game, Scott, we'll start with you. What does that have you put your mind around? That's a pretty big deal.
Yes, the history of that field is very interesting. Just real quick, when shortly after I came, they started talking about redoing these ticket booths, and I was like, seriously, what's the deal, and so I kind of dug into the history a little bit. But then to be going to play on it, it's like I understood that and saying what that is, we the first live broadcast, but then watching the team kind of rally around that and say, this is really just a great venue, and really looking forward to more matches there. So.
It does have a great soccer feel to it down there. Angel, I'd love to know, playing on the pitch there at Franklin and just that environment, what was that like for you?
It was great. New facility, get to try things out, see how the field feels, like if it's wide, if it's narrow, just working out see how our team plays with that field.
Yeah, and there's football played there, but it feels much more. It's like the high school maybe feels a little bit more like a football field style first. This, to me, looking at it, even driving by it today and watching kids play and shooting into the goal, it feels like a soccer complex. For you, Aiden, what was that experience down there?
It was just a cool experience. We haven't had a game there before, so it was just like you had to try it.
Yeah. And now you guys have I believe 5 more matches in the regular season. Play some Alliance people. You have a very good Prairie team at the end of the year. I know from a coach's perspective, yes, you're 8-4-1, but for the next 5 meets or matches, it doesn't help you win any one of those, no matter how many wins you have before. How do you look at this 5-game season?
We're just looking at it. Making sure that we're playoff ready.
Yep.
That was our mentality Monday night against not Valley, but Ankeny. And then again, going against Mason City, getting ready for Fort Dodge. That same thing. How do we do that consistency? How to play a team that struggles to win. That's who we're going to be facing until we get to Prairie. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of those that we've got to keep our intensity up, not just go out and just not go through the motions, but really find that motivation to say, what, we're going to play hard.
And to your point in getting them playoff ready, but also, so many good things are happening in your program. We didn't mention, you beat Ankeny 2-0. Yes, they're down right now for the CIML, but you still taking out an Ankeny team still has to feel pretty good. So just when you say playoff ready, what does that mean in your brain?
Can't lose.
Can't lose. And then, so when he says playoff ready, Aiden, what does that mean in your mind?
We gotta win. Like, get the ball in the net. Don't let them score on us. We gotta win.
And then, Angel, for you, what is one thing in your game that you feel like you can even step up more to be playoff ready here after that Prairie game down the road?
Definitely hesitation on the wing. I think I'm a fast player. I can definitely do more things than what I've been doing, and getting that cross to the penalty line is definitely something I could work on for sure. Yeah.
All right. Give him an amen on that, Scott.
That's right.
That's right.
That is right.
All righty. You hear it first. 8-4-1. This team is starting to roll, getting ready for the playoffs. They've got 5 matches until then. When we come back, we're going to stay on the pitch, and we'll talk to girls soccer when we come back here on Bobcat Live.
Looking for top-notch eye care close to home? Eye Care Associates, with offices in Marshalltown, Conrad, and Toledo, has proudly served Central Iowa since 1990. Their expert team provides eye exams for all ages, designer frames, contact lens fittings, and treatment for glaucoma, cataracts, and other eye conditions. With advanced technology, a welcoming staff, and convenient online booking, your next visit is easier than ever. Visit visionsource-marshalltowneyecare.com today. Eye Care Associates, your vision is their priority.
Eat at Legends American Grill in Marshalltown and support the Bobcats when you order the Bobcat Burger. 2 juicy quarter-pound beef patties stacked with crispy bacon, sautéed onions, and a mouth-watering blend of American, cheddar, Jack, and Swiss cheeses, all on a toasted bun with fresh shredded lettuce. And here's the best part. $1 from every Bobcat burger sold goes to Marshalltown High School activities. Satisfy your burger craving and support the Bobcats at the same time. Only at Legends American Grill in Marshalltown.
Gear up for game day with Adlet Engraving and Screen Print. Spring and summer sports are here. We have you covered with apparel, awards, embroidery, with many options and ideas. Adlet Engraving and Screen Print, 307 Riverside in Marshalltown. Easy parking, delivery is available.
Big news from your local insurance team in Marshalltown, Toledo, and West Des Moines. Assured Partners is now Gallagher Insurance, Risk Management, and Consulting. You'll still work with the same local people you know and trust. Now backed by the strength and global resources of Gallagher, a trusted name for nearly 100 years. More expertise, more solutions, stronger protection. Because we're stronger together. Stop by your local office today and discover the power of Gallagher.
Welcome in to Bobcat Live. Big shout out to my producer tonight, the one and only Brandon Lewis. But I'm joined by a girls soccer head coach, Cameron Naring, Katie Gomez-Reyes on the far right, and then Claire Bonzer with us. 5-5 on the season, but you're seeing some steps forward. You had a big 5-0 win over Humboldt, 4-3 win over Waterloo West last night, in a very close one with Mason City ranked squad 4-3. Sometimes you can learn more in a loss than a win, and you look at some of the earlier season going against ranked opponents where you're kind of out of the match. Ames 4-0, but that's really gotten tighter over the years. Colfax Mingo a 9-2 loss, but that 4-3, as a coach, what did you see last night that shows the growth of your Cats?
Everything. So we were able to bring everything together. Like, it showed at Humboldt on Friday, but every time they scored, we countered. Like, we never gave up. Honestly, we just needed like 2 more minutes. It would have been a 4-4 game.
Yeah, and to you, thinking about just that from a coach's perspective, your mind walking off the pitch after a 9-2 loss against Colfax Mingo versus walking off the pitch 4-3 loss to Mason City. Did you almost was it a different response from you between those two matches?
Yeah. We gave up at Colfax, where we just didn't give up at Mason City. And it really showed that we wanted to be there. Like, we were just in a different environment, and we found our breaking point at Colfax, and then we came back even stronger. So.
And every team on the rise that ever builds culture, there seems to always be, yes, there's losses, but there's different kinds of losses. And when you can play that top, where you're at the end, it's like, we got these people, we know we can belong. And you said goal for goal, and there's somebody that knows something about goals. Claire Bonzer's got an incredible nose for the back of the net. 17 goals already, 5 as a freshman, 17 as a sophomore. Assuming all the way through up, you've always been a scorer. What's your mindset on the pitch as you're looking to attack?
I would just say, always looking for opportunities to score, and also just giving other people opportunities too.
And so I'd love for you to walk us through just a scenario. All right, defender gets it. Now they're starting to attack mode, getting it out, and you're setting your scope to try to get a shot. What's going through your mind as the ball's coming down into scoring opportunities for you? How are you setting that up?
Pretty much when I'm about to score, I just shoot and pray, but
that's a good way to do it. That's a good way to do it. Hit play and pray. That's what we do in the broadcasting booth, so it works the same. I love it. That works for me. That's the best quote. Shoot it and pray. Can we get T-shirts? I think NIL is actually a thing you can do in high school. Now for you, Katie, you looking at 5-5 on the season, also a sophomore, younger, underclassmen. As you look at this season and your own approach, where do you think your personal growth has been so far in the year?
I think I low-key started off a little bit weak, but I've gotten more used to the game. And since Claire is our top goal scorer, I always look for assisting her. And I think that my through balls have gotten a lot better over the season, and that's what I'm going to be working on most.
And when you look at both you young ladies, it's second year, second coach. Cameron's not completely foreign to everything at the school, but her first year as a head coach. Did it take you a little bit to transition with her, and now do you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I definitely feel more comfortable with her because she kind of, like, when we talk to her about something, she kind of understands. Like, for example, a lineup, we talk to her on what we think or who we think should start, and she listens to us. So I just think that she's easier to talk to.
I love that. And then you look at that, Coach. Looking at Claire Bonzer is you have a very, very skilled scorer that's also number one on every single scout. How do you get her shots or use her as a facilitator to maintain when you're playing this top-level competition that has the athletes to go with Claire? How do you work to get Claire shots or get her to facilitate to get those shots?
I usually put her on the weak side of their defense because they're not capable of being able to hold her. She has speed, which is huge for our offense, being able to beat their backside. But like she said, she just shoots and prays, and it typically goes in, and no matter where she's out in the field, it usually just tends to go in. So.
Love it. And as you guys go on, has your goals for this year as a coach changed as the season's gone along, or do you feel like you're still chipping away at that initial goal?
I'm not gonna lie, I never set any goals because it's my first year. We're a completely different team and we're very young. Yep. So I didn't want to put goals out there that I'm like, we can't achieve, or making goals that are realistic for the next game. So I'm mostly realistic game by game. Like, we can do this, we can do that. Like Mason City, my goal was to not let them be ahead more than 2 goals. And Claire made a corner kick and found the back of the net, making it 4-3, and they was like 4-2 for like 2 minutes. So being able to like make realistic game-to-game goals.
All right, after that close call, for this next match ahead, what are those goals then?
Finding Claire in a different position so that she's not the person they're always looking for, because they're obviously, with having 17 goals on the season, they're going to be guarding her like crazy, but being able to throw someone else up there, like Katie has a foot, she can shoot, Plotzy also can shoot, so putting other people in different positions, being able to not necessarily always find Claire, but find Claire in different spots, because she can shoot from 25 yards out. So
I'd love for you as a coach, give me the scout on Katie down there. What does she bring to your team? We know sometimes the counting stats are what just the common fan sees, but we know that it's a lot more than just counting stats. As important as those are, players like Katie really bring a winning factor to it.
She's very unpredictable, and I really like that about her. One game she could be off, but like the next second it's like a completely different Katie. She can go and move the ball. She's communicative. She can get the ball up for Itzy, like Humble on Friday. She was getting the ball on the ground or up in the air, and it was still getting to where it needed to be every time, to where other games she's just almost taking a space away from the other players. So just any game can be different for her. So
fantastic. And next match, folks can come out to Leonard Cole Field and watch you guys.
Yes, we play Fort Dodge on Friday.
Fort Dodge on Friday. Take out the Dodgers. And Brandon Lewis will have the call Friday night on KFJB-TV. Well, thank you very much, ladies. And when we come back, we will have Coach Raymond Spies along with Thasso talking a little bit Valorant on the PC for the Marshalltown Bobcats esports program when we come back on Bobcat Live.
Have Van Wyck Wood Builders design and build the storage shed you need. So many different options to choose from. Van Wyck Wood Builders, just 5 miles south of I-80 in Grinnell on Highway 146. Online at vanwyckwoodbuilders.com.
At Lennox Employees Credit Union, you're more than a member, you're family. Since 1948, we've been helping members and their families save more, borrow smarter, and reach their financial goals. Whether it's a low-rate auto loan, a mortgage that feels manageable, or simply a savings account that grows with you, we're here to make banking simple and stress-free. Discover the credit union difference today. Visit Lennox Employees Credit Union, 1004 East Main in Marshalltown, where people helping people is more than a motto. It's who we are. Learn more at lennoxecu.com. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome into Bobcat Live. We go from the pitch to the PC. We're here with Coach Raymond Spees along with senior Valorant player Thoss So. So far, so good. It's been a really good full season in all titles for the Bobcat Esports program. Spring's been really solid with Mario Kart along with Valorant. Coach, I'd love for people out there, Mario Kart people know Valorant. Can you give us like a quick synopsis of what Valorant is as a game and maybe from the approach, a little bit of strategy 101?
Yeah, it's a 5v5 team-based shooter where you can either win a round by eliminating all players from the other team or planting a bomb or defusing, depending on if you're on offense or defense. So as far as strategy goes, it's very, very heavily team-based. You got to coordinate where everybody's going, which site they need to be at, and when to use their skills and abilities, which is where we really excel, is that teamwork aspect. We have great in-game communication that's been a key to our success so far.
And I had the opportunity I was sitting in on an esports coaching certification all-day program, and really I jumped in there as I want to know the ins and outs of it more and more, and the thing they talked about is esports is a lot like life. It's all about communication and what you talk about there. So Thaw, and you're in it. You're in that group of 5. Can you first tell us your position role and then a little bit that role of communication with Valorant?
So as team captain, I play the role of like secondary in-game lead. So we have a really talented player on our 5-man roster that does a really great job at leading the team. He has great communication skills, and then, I go in there to shoot people. That's kind of what I do.
Yeah. So that works in that teammate concept. So is Valorant the only title you play, or do you play other titles throughout the year?
I have been playing only Valorant.
When did you get hooked on Valorant?
So, I've been playing Valorant for like 6-ish years, ever since it came out. So I've been there since day one. And we adopted the title sophomore year, so that's when I picked it up.
And so when you look at that Valorant piece, for you, what skills do you really think translate well for a top-end Valorant player?
I think the biggest skill is communication, because you're constantly talking. There's information constantly coming at you, whether it's footsteps or like ability usage from the team. Because you're keeping track of like 9 different people, depending on your role on the team.
Yeah, I am always impressed thinking through and listening to that approach, is that constant communication, different approach, having to run so many different scenarios in your head. The amount of skill that takes is incredible to me. With Thom being a senior and his leadership, that peer-to-peer leadership is a coach's dream. What role or what support has Thom been for your program as you've been a coach in the Marshalltown program?
Yeah, he's been vital to everything. Like he said, my first year here was his sophomore year, so we've been doing Valorant together for as long as it's been a program here. And yeah, just his skill for one, which is obviously a great asset, but then like we keep mentioning, the communication and just the game knowledge is irreplaceable, and has really been what has made us such a tough team.
And sitting at 4-1 here, state showdown it's about 4 weeks away. The last day will be 4 weeks from now, I believe, or is it 3? It's coming up real soon.
It's really soon.
So the season is coming in. Sitting at 4-1, what's the team goal, Thaw?
So currently, we got a loss by a team that we know we could beat. So we will be facing them again at state, highly likely. And then this upcoming week, we're facing Kennedy, which
always has a good esports program.
They won last year.
Yeah.
We were runner-up, but we should get them tomorrow.
Yeah, that was the highest at that point, highest finish, still tied for the highest finish by a Marshalltown esports program title in history, second in state. So, Rainen, are you echoing what Thaw's saying there's the goals, or from a coach's perspective, is it slightly different?
I mean, yeah, we want to reach the ceiling that we know we're capable of doing, and that means going out and playing our game the way we know we can and reaching where we think we can be.
Yeah, and like I said, they're coming out. This has really been cool to see. The Marshalltown program has really, you see every season, there's another step up to where it seems state qualifying is now just a bit of the norm, and it seems like competing for those state titles is right around the corner. Well, good luck to you guys. I'll be there at State Showdown cheering you on. Hopefully it's a Valorant first place banner that flies. When we come back, PC to the track, we are going to talk to boys track. We'll talk a little bit to Preston Johnson after his Drake's finishes, along with we will also go sprint. We're not just going to run a lot around the track. We're going to go a quarter around the track with Evan Anderson, who can run a whole lot faster than you and me, here on Bobcat Live.
Gear up for game day with Adlet Engraving and Screen Print. Spring and summer sports are here. We have you covered with apparel, awards, embroidery, with many options and ideas. Adlet Engraving and Screen Print, 307 Riverside in Marshalltown. Easy parking, delivery is available.
You look forward to retirement as your time to relax. But now that it's here, turns out relaxation is overrated and you'd rather get back to work with an idea of your own. Wells Fargo Advisors can help. For more than 125 years, we've created wealth management and investment strategies aimed at achieving our clients' personal financial goals. When retirement plans change course, turn to Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far.
Wells Fargo Advisors is located at 14 East South Ridge Road in Marshalltown. Call them at 641-752-5401. They're a member SIPC.
You've got goals. You need a plan. Don't waste time or money. At Marshalltown Community College, you get the power to choose. Transfer to a 4-year university or step straight into a career in healthcare or trades. Small classes, caring faculty, real-world experience. Marshalltown Community College. Your future starts now.
All righty, we're back in with Bobcats boys track. I am joined with, of course, Coach Bob Gilbertson, Preston Johnson to my right, and Evan Anderson. Coach, we've gotten to and through Drake relays, kind of that halfway point, getting towards state. Where does the team sit when you looked at it from the outset? Where does the team sit right now from where you want it to be? And then where's that next step? What are you looking for in this last sprint to the end of the season, pun intended?
Yeah. Well, getting to Drake is a long haul. It's a busy time of year, and I think that we're pretty much in a good spot. From now on in, we're just trying to, fine-tune some things. We have some guys who are a little bit nicked up, especially in the sprint core. Just trying to get those guys healed up a little bit. It seems like everyone's dealing with a little bit of something, and we just really have a few hard practices left to do the rest of the year, and hopefully get some rest and recovery and do well these last few meets.
And I was watching a TikTok, watched Jackson Hinkle's throw up at Mason. Yeah. It was a great throw. How's his ankle?
He's doing okay. He's iced it. He's able to move it a lot better. We're hoping he's going to be able to maybe throw tomorrow. If not tomorrow, he'll go down. We'll see how it feels, and then if not, he'll be ready by Tuesday for sure. But it's a little bit slower than we'd like it to be.
Yeah, and that's rolled his ankle and on that little lip around there. Didn't look. Your ankle's not supposed to do that.
No, it's not.
But definitely look at Preston. Talk about you got to Drake and that level of running, and when you look at, there are just some studs. There's some studs in the long distance. There's a whole crew of you. That 3,200 meter, 8th place or 9th place, and then you look at the 1,600 meter, you get 8th place. This is how talented that group is. You got 8th place. You ran a 4:14 and broke the school record. And can you talk about just that Drake experience and being able to run your race when you're just surrounded by some really excellent runners?
Yeah, like you said, it's a great field out there.
Yep.
Just all those guys were running crazy fast times. Even the back of the pack was still, really fast. So it was just super cool to be in a field like that.
And these are gentlemen that you've run by with a ton. So as you look at that, are you looking so much? Of course, you want to win, but sometimes the difference between 5th and 10th can be just a matter of tenths of seconds. Did you go out and run the race that you wanted to run in those?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It can either be a strung out race where everyone's just going really true to their ability, or it can be more tactical and it gets left to the last 2 laps. But they're fun races, and you got to be prepared for whatever comes.
And we've talked about this on Bobcat Live before, but you're more of a kid that you're that consistency, and maybe your final kick isn't the strongest part of your run. But so when you're looking to get to that kick at that elite level, in your mind, where do you want to be, say, after lap 7 on the 3,200 meter?
For sure, yeah. We've learned that, if I can be in it with 100 to go for the win, or, with my eyes set on someone, that's a really good spot to be. So kind of just focusing on, staying in contact, and then for the last 100, 200, just go for it.
All right, now let's talk about that 1,600. The kid from Western Dubuque's probably the best distance runner in Iowa history. I don't know who else would be. He's another animal almost, but that 1 mile is where he's probably the most susceptible. You ran a really good run. Walk us through getting to the starting line. Let's not go to the finish line. We know where you finished, but now all those elite level 1,600 meter. What's going through your mind as you're doing that, getting right to the starting line?
Yeah, just going into it, it was a relatively small field compared to the 3,200, maybe 10 guys. So just knowing everyone in this race is going to be really fast, just find a good position and just go with the flow.
And then looking at just real quick, and then we'll get to you, Evan, but I'd love to know, all right, Drake happened. And really, how do you step up from, say, 8th or 9th and move it up? Some of it's just going to be classes breakdown, so that moves some people out of your way. But what are you from here to state? What do you think you need to do, tweak to get maybe to one of those top 2 or 3 spots?
Definitely, yeah. Even after Thursday, we were really focusing on getting those carbs in, getting all that food, and really staying consistent with lift, plyos, and that's gonna be big.
When you say carbs, some people are hearing they're rocking Kraft mac and cheese. When you say carbs, I'm not thinking you're saying Easy Mac. What are carbs to you?
Lots of rice, potatoes, that kind of thing.
Perfect. Now, Evan, saw what you ran the other night. I've never ran. I don't know if I can run 80 meters in that. 11.19 in the 100 meters, and you've been banged up a little bit. To come out there, how did it feel just to be able to compete?
It felt pretty good, but the wind played a big factor in it for me. It was a pretty big PB.
Yeah, So when you look at that, where it's wind aided, it gives you some help. What do you need to do to be at that 11.2 without the help of Mother Nature?
Just staying healthy, getting structured for your race, just all of that.
And Coach, when you look at someone like Evan, because really the long distances have been the bread and butter for the last few years from Marshalltown track and field, we haven't had as much success in those sprints. What can you say about Evan and hopefully his progression to help bolster up those sprints?
Evan's someone that we saw last year as someone who can really progress and do a great job. And to his credit, he really got in the weight room, took what we talked about after last season seriously, which is what a lot of our sprinters need to do and have done. And he took the next step forward. And, he has been banged up a little bit with the back and a little bit of shin, but he always comes out. He's always there to work, and he puts his best step forward. It's just he's someone that's it's due, and he's earned it. It's going to keep coming as he gets healthy.
And just give you a quick second, Coach. Just had senior night last week. What can you say about your seniors that are matriculating out of high school and moving on?
It's a huge senior class. 21. That's a lot. And so they're a great group to work with, your son included. And
Well, and somebody out there is real thirsty for you to mention him over there in the Modelo shirt.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Declan Green. Yeah, he always needs a shout out.
Right.
So they've been a great group, and I've known them for a long time, and they've just been a pleasure to work with. And I know that their work ethic and everything that they've done through the years is going to give them great success in whatever they choose to do.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fun to be on the track and then just cracking jokes to my son because I didn't know what to do with myself as they were talking to other people.
Yeah.
So just trying to make him laugh, and that's so if anyone made an issue or was talking when other people were talking, it was actually me. It wasn't my son. I should be the one in trouble. But yeah, it was a great night. Bummer, no home meet this year due to weather, but it was great that we were able to get out there and to celebrate the seniors. Well, good luck to you gentlemen rest of the way. It's always fun to watch you guys run. When we come back, we'll talk a little girls track. We'll be a little bit in. We're not just going to go halfway around one time for 100 meters. We're going to go around the track a few times. We'll talk 800 meters and 1,500 meters with the girls track team.
McGregor's Furniture and Mattress is your local furniture store in Marshalltown. With their extensive inventory, you're sure to make a winning selection when you shop McGregor's for your bedroom, living room, and dining room furnishings. McGregor's has the right play for every room in your home. McGregor's Furniture and Mattress is proud to be your locally owned and operated furniture store since 1896 and very proud to support Bobcat Athletics again this season. McGregor's Furniture and Mattress, downtown Marshalltown, open 7 days a week.
At Sports Plus Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy Center, we customize each patient's treatment plan to their individual needs. What does that mean? It means that not every back or knee problem is treated the same, and that your program will be unique and designed especially for your needs or problem. This improves how quickly you will return to work or sports. The Sports Plus staff is encouraging and takes pride in your successful recovery. This is just one more reason why champions choose Sports Plus Physical Therapy as their favorite place to rehabilitate and train.
Refinance your auto loan with Members First Community Credit Union. For a limited time, refinance your auto loan from another lender and receive 1% cash back up to $500. Scan the QR code to apply online. Call us or visit a Members First branch.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social for date night, family fun, or the company party with plenty of space for everyone. Visit Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to start planning your group outing at Wayward Social, the place for fun.
At Marshalltown Community School District, students don't just prepare for the future, they shape it. Embrace the lead. From academic excellence to college and career readiness, our schools support every student's journey. With strong student support, a wide range of extracurricular opportunities, engaging fine arts programs, and hands-on learning experiences. There's something here for everyone. Marshalltown Community School District, where they embrace the lead to ensure success tomorrow.
Refinance your auto loan with Members First Community Credit Union. For a limited time, refinance your auto loan from another lender and receive 1% cash back up to $500. Scan the QR code to apply online. Call us or visit a Members First branch.
Welcome back in for Bobcat Live. It has been a tremendous night talking golf, talking tennis. We've got some esports. We've been boys track. We've been on the pitch. Now we get to cap it off. Best for last. We're going to talk some girls track. We're here with Drea Sarin and Mallory Myron. And Seren. I'm sorry, Drea. I asked you, and then I messed it up because I got in my own head. Drea, Mallory, you guys love running so much. It's not just one time around the track. It's at least two, if not more. So, Drea, as a sophomore, as you're looking at this season, you've had some good runs. Where do you see yourself so far in this year?
I'm just looking to get better at my times and hopefully end at state in the 4x8 with my team.
Yeah, you look at that, Mal, 4x8, that would also be something you'd be pretty interested in as well. And when you guys look at that long distance, you're kind of in that 800 is an interesting race for people that don't run 800s a lot out there. Mallory, can you kind of share the mindset versus it's not a sprint. Yes, it's long distance, but it's kind of not long distance. How would you describe the 800?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's the fastest race I've run, so it's kind of like a sprint for me, but,
Yeah.
like, it's not for, like, the shorter distance. Like, it's still a really hard race.
It's long enough that it's punishment if you tell a 100 or 200 meter runner to go run it. Like, I'm looking there at Declan running 400s. I don't think he wants to run 800s there. He's not doing it. So you look at it. Drea, how do you look at the 800?
Well, the 800 is still my fastest, so it might not be a sprint for like the 3,000, but it's my sprint. So really just getting out fast enough and keeping that pace the whole time and making sure I finish fast.
And you guys both mentioned that 4x8 team. Really, and that's from that relay piece. It seems to be a strength of this team. Drea, what is it about this 4x8 team that you think the potential's there, the strength's there?
Well, we're all really close. We all run together at practice. We all have that compatibility together. We're all like a great team together. So I think when we're running in that 4x8, we just run better together, at least for me. And I know that there's other teams that are super competitive in the 4x8 as well. So it just pushes me to catch the girl in front of me.
And Mallory, when running the individual 800, running 4x8, do you have a preference? Do you like one over the other, where it's just you, or a part of that team relay?
I probably like the 4x8 more because I feel like everybody else like pushes me to do better in that race than just like myself pushing myself.
And I really was interested, Dre, you talked about, you're running that relay with the people you run with. So you're building that camaraderie and chemistry throughout the year. What's one runner out there, and we'll exclude Mallory just because she's sitting up with you, that really has helped push you to be better?
I'd say it's Anessa, our senior. She's just such a big inspiration for me, and I'm very close with her, and I've gotten a lot closer with her this year. And so I feel like she just pushes me to become a better runner and just, for the team in the 4x8.
And what about you, Mallory? Would you echo that Anessa's been a pretty big...
Yeah, I think both the seniors are good for pushing us.
And then, for your goal, Mallory, is, you're about... We're about 3-4 weeks away from state, conferences coming up. Do you have personal goals, 4x8 goals for you by the end of the year? And if so, what are they?
Yeah, I just want the 4x8 to make it to state. I think everybody in the 4x8 wants that. So I just need to keep chipping away at the time and drop in a little bit at a time. And
where do you guys need to be at Dre or Mallory, whoever knows, do you guys kind of know what your best time now versus where it probably needs to be to qualify?
I would say we all probably need to run low 240s, if not under 240, to make it to state.
Okay, and that's with the times that you've got, you guys can probably piece those
I feel
together.
like that's pretty possible for us.
And then, so you look at that, a lot of opportunities. You guys are both underclassmen, big impact from the upperclassmen, but you guys get to carry that on. Well, thank you very much.
Good
luck.
Thank you.
I think that 4x8, man, it would look good to see that 4x8 team at state this year.
I agree.
Yeah, echo, amen from the choir for sure. Hear a little bit clapping from Coach Chad Pedic as well. Well, that'll do it for Bobcat Live. We've had an incredible night inside of Wayward. We'll be back in a couple weeks to celebrate more Bobcat spring sports here on KFJB.